Yo, what's up guys? This is Sleet. Welcome to another video. Today I'm talking about the Champions League match between Barca and Bayern. Let me just start off by saying what a ridiculous game. That scoreline will be remembered, I think, for decades. 8-2. It's like right up there, I think, with recent times. The 7-1 Brazil-Germany game. And if I'm not mistaken, over the two legs, was it 7-1 a couple of years ago between the same two teams? Normally, I think I talk about each team individually and maybe go through each player, but today I think I'm just going to focus on every goal, and I'll bring up players that are involved in the goals and then speak about them then. Going over the goals, I apologize now if I mix up any of the goals, like the order. There was 10 goals today, and it's going to be hard for me to remember every single one individually, but I'll do my best. So the first goal came 4 minutes in. It was like a really, I think, simple goal for Bayern. They just pressed, they won the ball. The crossover from Perisic wasn't the greatest, but I thought Muller did very well, and I think he was one of the better players today. Muller's touch to Lewandowski was like a great control, and then they get it back. The way he finished on his weak foot, it wasn't the greatest shot, but he knew what he was doing. You know, that it's hard to save a shot when you bounce it on the floor right before it gets to where the keeper is, and Ter Stegen didn't really have any chance. At this point, I thought this was just nerves. I thought it was good for Bayern that they got a goal so early, but I thought Barca were nervous, and I fully expected them to do something and get more into the game. And a couple of minutes later, I thought I was proved right. A couple of minutes later, I think it was Longley had a very good long pass over to Alba, and that was honestly the only good thing Longley did today. He's by far the worst player for me today. Anyways, the pass over to Alba was a very good one, and he had Suarez across. And I think this highlighted the main issue with Bayern Munich and why I think City can get at them if City go through against Lyon in future games. They played a very high line, and that was a really easy ball for Alba to get in behind. Alaba was very unlucky trying to block it, and it went over Neuer. I think Neuer could have done better. He did kind of get a hand to it, but he should have been stronger. And positionally, I think he should have just been not as far off his line as he was. Second goal for Bayern, I think, showcases another Barcelona player that was absolutely terrible today. There was such a nonchalance when Barca were playing out, and they couldn't afford to be so nonchalant with Bayern pressing as high as they were. There was a pass from Semedo to Sergio Roberto. The pass wasn't the best pass. Roberto was under a little pressure, but he should have just dealt with it, and if anything, cleared it. Instead, his touch was a good 5 yards in front of him, and he got nowhere near it. Gnabry took it off of him, and from there, Gnabry did very well. He stood up the defender, and then he waited for Perisic to overlap. Very good ball to Perisic. And again, Barca were poor. Ter Stegen, I thought, should have saved this shot from Perisic. He got a foot to it, but his foot wasn't strong enough to offset it as much as he might have wanted to, and instead of hitting it past the post with his foot, he just hit it into the top corner. And from this point in the game, Bayern just really imposed themselves. The third goal I thought was a beautifully worked goal, and I think it showed the difference in just quality between most of the players on the Bayern and Barcelona team. Thiago, who is an ex-Barcelona player and apparently is available for 30 million, what a bargain for a player of that quality. He was getting pressured by the Barcelona forwards. And on the other side, whenever Barcelona were being pressured by Bayern, they were giving the ball up or hitting it long, and they couldn't hold on to it. Instead, Thiago was very composed. He played a couple of passes with his defenders, and then he worked into the space in front of that forward line. He was in that gap. And then from there, he had the composure to find Goretzka. And this pass from Goretzka, it reminds me of something Yaya Toure used to do quite a bit, where instead of taking a touch and trying to turn with the ball, if you know somebody's running in behind you, if you just dink it off your foot, and if you do it high enough, it'll go over the center back. I remember Yaya doing that a couple of times, and this was the pass of the game for me, or the moment of the game. That was a great pass from Goretzka. Again, Gnabry was in, and then Gnabry had the goal to go with his assist from before. All around, I thought that was just a quality goal. The fourth goal for Bayern was another example of how poor Longley was today. He was static for the third goal. I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt. That was a great pass. You can't really expect something like that from Goretzka, but he was really flat-footed for that, and he should have been able to turn quicker. Instead, he didn't, and Gnabry was just in behind him, but I'll allow him that. The fourth goal, he was just standing at the near post. When the cross came in from Kimmich, I think Muller tapped it in. And in the time it took Muller to run from behind him to in front of Longley, Longley didn't even move a step forward or try and block it. He was trying to get a latch. Instead of trying to get the last-ditch tackle or the last-ditch block by sliding out, maybe he should have been more mobile on his feet and just getting rid before Muller had a chance to even tap it in. But that wasn't the case, and it was a really good cross from Kimmich. I just want to say quickly, as much as Bayern were good and they deserved this win, I thought the referee helped them out a bit. At this point in the game, I think Kimmich was fine, except he should have had a yellow card. There was a tackle he had on De Jong, which in itself I didn't think was a yellow, but then he did this, insinuating that De Jong was diving, and when you do that, it's a straight yellow card. The fact that the referee didn't give him the yellow for doing the charade yellow card to the other team, just, it kind of showed a lack of calling things, and I thought he wasn't calling a lot of fouls. And then near the end, he started calling a load of fouls. I think he was trying to correct for his mistakes, and he was handing out yellows all over the place. And if Kimmich had rightfully been yellow carded then, he got a yellow card later in the game for a tackle, and that would have been a second yellow, and he would have been off and suspended for the next round of the tournament. And as good as he was, that's really foolish, and I think the referee should have been a little more intelligent in terms of how he dealt with that. So then it was halftime, and a 4-1 down, Barca didn't really have any chance. Their biggest hope was probably to try and get a goal early in the second half, and then try and be solid defensively and work their way out, and maybe clinch something else later in the game and then push more. Instead, they just continued to be poor defensively. They lost the second half 4-1 as well, and I think it was the first time they ever conceded 4 goals in a Champions League game first half. And then as the goals kept going in, it kept being the record number of goals they conceded in the Champions League. I don't think they'd conceded 5 in a match before, and it ended up being 8. At halftime, there wasn't much Setien could do. He should have lined up better than he did. He played this weird 4-4-2 where the wide players were box-to-box midfielders. And if you're going to play players like that out wide, you can't expect any creativity. And if you're going to be defensive like that, you have to expect more solidity from the team. I think the next goal in the game was Barcelona's second goal. I'm not 100% sure if Bayern scored first, but I think it was Barcelona. Messi dropped deep. He was trying to get more on the ball than he was. His team wasn't really helping him out at all. This was a great ball over the top. And again, it showcased that Bayern were playing with a really high line, and they can be scored against. They were not really solid at the back today. Just Barcelona weren't testing them, and Bayern were counter-pressing much better than Barca were attacking. Or completely sold Boateng. Again, it showed that these defenders can be got at. Alaba scoring an own goal, and then Boateng being sold with a fairly easy fake shot. It was a good little finish from Suarez, and part of me felt like they might get back in the game, but just they hadn't shown enough for me, and Bayern were all over them in terms of creating chances at the other end. The 5th goal for Bayern Munich was an amazing run by Alphonso Davies. I'm a big fan of this guy. He's Canadian, so he's only a country away from me. He's a left back like I am. He's insanely fast, and what I loved about this the most was that he completely stood up Semedo. Not once, but twice, and then he beat him to the line. He showed how much pace he has. He ran all the way through the box, and then it was a simple tap-in for Kimmich. And this is where I think Barcelona started to give up. They had already been playing poorly from the back, and this is where I thought the defenders just gave up on any chance of getting back into the game, and they stopped really trying defensively at all. For that goal, I thought Longley again was out of position. Piqué was dragged over, but that's because of how easily Semedo was beaten. So it wasn't really his fault, but Longley really should have been watching more people in the middle. And it was, I think, it was mostly midfielders back there rather than defenders. I don't know what was going on for that. But take nothing away from the run from Alphonso Davies. Absolutely incredible pace, skill, dribbling, everything. And he's got a really high ceiling. This kid is literally my age, and he's running through the entire Barcelona team in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. The 6th goal for Bayern, again, it highlighted how poor the referee was today for me. This is a clear offside. The ball was crossed from, I forget who. Oh, Coutinho after he came on. It was a good cross from Coutinho, and it was a good finish from Lewandowski. It's just the only issue I have with the goal is that Lewandowski was a good foot offside. I don't know if they reviewed it. They said they reviewed it. On TV, they purposefully didn't show the replay until after the game. And when it's so clearly offside, at least it seems so clearly offside, and you don't show the lines, it just seems a little fishy. I don't know why the TV people or the VAR people wouldn't have drawn the lines or shown the computer lines and shown that maybe he was onside. And it's not in the grand scheme of things, this goal really mattered, but it's what crushed Barcelona. For the next couple of goals, they really weren't trying to defend, and it's because this goal, I think, went in. And it really shouldn't have counted. I don't know how the ref got away with that. After getting the assist for the 6th goal, Coutinho went on to score the next 2, and I guess that just really shows Barcelona how poorly their club is run, or at least Barcelona fans, how poorly your club is run. You let this guy go on loan to Bayern Munich, who are a rival in the Champions League, after you spent over 120 million, I think it was 130 million on this player. You barely play him, he doesn't work out. and now you're kind of trying to let him go. There's rumors he's linked with Arsenal for like 9 to 10 million. And from the looks of today, this guy could like easily walk into this Barcelona team. I don't know why they'd let him go. He's got such quality. First goal that he had was really technically good. I think his first touch was just brilliant. It brought out, like, it completely took PK out of the game, and it forced PK to then lunge, and when he lunged, he opened his legs for Coutinho to put it through, and it was just a good finish. But again, I thought that the whole Barcelona team here was really stagnant. They weren't defending as a team. They're just leaving it to the defenders. The midfield was pushed up trying to get goals, and there just wasn't a lot of working back or trying to like save face. They just seemed content with just conceding more if they could potentially score another one. And then the 8th goal is almost not worth mentioning. Again, it was a cross and Coutinho tapped it in. But Coutinho had time to take the ball down from the cross and then put it in the goal before anybody had even come anywhere close to him. Like, it just shows the lack of determination or belief that Barca had the fight in them. And at the end, they were really dejected. I thought Bayern are going to be really confident after doing that. To beat one of the best teams in the world, it always gives you confidence. I was mentioning about Man City beating Real Madrid over 2 legs. It just gives you belief in yourself, but to crush a team like Bayern did just shows what quality they have. But I think it also just highlights how poor Barcelona are. Like I said before, I think they're a poorly run team or club in general. They don't replace well. They had some of the best players in the world in different positions for the past like 10 years. And when these players have left, they don't buy well. Dani Alves, one of the best right backs of all time. Is Nelson Semedo anywhere comparable to somebody like that? You lose Xavi and Iniesta, and rather than keep Arthur and De Jong, who are young replacements, you get rid of Arthur for Pjanic. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, getting rid of a young person with the potential for an already established player who's not even like the best midfielder in the world. Like, this is Barcelona, and replacing people like Iniesta is harder than just getting a Pjanic. They lost Neymar and they signed Ousmane Dembele and Coutinho. Coutinho I already mentioned and spoke about before. But then Ousmane Dembele, these injuries, you can't really control those. But what you can do is get better fitness staff in who can deal with him better. When a player is getting multiple injuries in the same sort of way over and over, I don't necessarily feel like it's their body constantly giving out with them. I think part of that is just being managed poorly from the doctor's standpoint, and Barcelona should know better than that. A lot of people will be mad at Messi or say that this clearly proves that Ronaldo's better than him or Lewandowski's the best player in the world right now. Well, I think Lewandowski, there is a conversation to be had about right now being the best in the world. Messi still created chances. The Bayern president said that if he played on the same side as Alphonso Davies, Davies would pocket him, was basically what he was saying. He would deal with him. Nobody really gets past Davies, is what he said. But in the first half, Messi did just that. He went past Davies, and then another. His shot was weak, but that could have been a goal. It was fantastic dribbling. There was like a 5-minute period in the first half where Messi was consistently putting in cross after cross, and these were decent crosses that just Langley and PK weren't getting their head on, or they were dodging. One of these crosses was just ducked under and it hit the post, and I think that just shows the quality of these balls that Messi was putting in, and somebody should have put a finish on any of these, and if they had, this game could have been slightly different. I don't think Barca would have won, but it wouldn't have been as humiliating a loss if they'd stayed in the game and it was closer at the end. Looking forward, I think Bayern will be most neutrals' favorites now. It's the same thing that happened with Germany in the World Cup. When you have that big convincing win, everybody just thinks it's your trophy to win, and the players themselves start to think that it's theirs to win, and it just intimidates other teams and you don't think anybody can beat them. I will say I did see enough today as a City fan that if Bayern play the way that they just did, I think it'll be a high-scoring game with City, but we will score a lot of goals against a team like that. Barca were poor in terms of attacking. I thought Messi was doing okay, but everybody else was kind of out of the game. But if De Bruyne has that much space in behind to whip balls into, and you've got Sterling and Jesus, players like that running in behind, I could see City scoring 3, 4, 5 goals against this Bayern team. But in that same breath, I think if City were trying to pass out of the back the way Barca did today, make no mistake, Ter Stegen is one of the best in the world at doing this. I think Ederson is slightly better at playing with his feet. If we continue to just try and play it out of the back, if Bayern are counter-pressing us in that same way, Bayern will do very well against us, and they can score a lot of goals as well. Honestly, I'm very excited to see that game. I hope City beat Lyon tomorrow. I'm going to make a video on that right after this one, a match preview. To just wrap up on this game, I think Barcelona need major change at their club. This is beyond humiliating to lose 8-2 in a game where you should just be at least competitive. And it's not like you're a terrible team. In my opinion, Barcelona have one of the best players in the world. I think he is the best player in the world and the best player of all time, in my opinion. And to have somebody like that with these terrible players, at least not, if they're not terrible, just terrible attitudes. People like Arturo Vidal at the end trying to fight like Longley that just don't even know how to defend. I don't know how he's at that level. Messi just deserves better, and I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. The way he threw off his armband at the end of the game, he seemed dejected. He can't do everything for the team all the time. And we saw that in La Liga this year. They had a lead and they crumbled at the end. Now in the Champions League, it's happened again. This has already happened before, where with Roma and Liverpool, where they've given up big leads. And today's even worse, because not only did they just not have a lead, they weren't even in this game. Those other ties, they were in those games, they had leads. It just showed that they lacked fight or the belief at the end. Today it showed that they have zero confidence in themselves. Against another top team, they crumbled. And I think that'll be the end of Setien as the manager. Rakitic was like their best midfielder in their last game against Napoli, and they didn't even play him today. He didn't even come on. His formation clearly didn't work. He didn't even try to change his tactics. They continued to try and play out of the back, and they constantly conceded chance after chance to Bayern. As a City fan, if we get through against Lyon, I'm going to be terrified of playing that Bayern team, but I think there is a chance. I think we'll put up more of a fight than Barcelona did, and at the end of the day, it's always exciting to see the best players play the best players. De Bruyne against Lewandowski, those kind of battles, I just always like watching those. Bayern are a scary good team. Everybody knew that already though, and Barca just really showed how poor they are and how much change needs to happen at that club for them to get back to the top level they were at. If you watched this far, I really appreciate it. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, it all means a lot to me. And if you disagree at all, please leave a comment. I'd love to discuss. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.